What's up, everyone? In today's video, we're going to take a first look at the new modular dashboards by Payload CMS. I have not done any kind of research into these yet, so I'm just spinning up the camera, and we're going to go dive into the dashboards to see what we can figure out. I know that this is in beta, so there are a few issues that are still being worked out, but I'm hoping that we can at least get something up and running even with a basic project. So this is only available on version 3.69 and after. So we'll take a look and see what we can come up with. There's no guarantee that any of this will work, and if it doesn't, I'll pivot to a different topic. But for now, we're gonna look at the modular dashboards. So let's go ahead and my screen isn't working, so that's gonna be an issue in my recording, but that's okay. That's all right. So it's working now. I hope that that doesn't make my life more difficult later on, but we will see. So let me pull something up over here real quick. All right, so I've got that screen open. We're gonna start with a new project. I may spin up a different project if I need to, but we can just do bring this over here. We're going to do pnpx. Ooh, I need to not do this in my root directory. So we'll go to desktop first. Then we'll go to where I have my tutorial repos. And then I have all this in a mono repo now. And then this will be for, all right. Now I can do payload. All right. And then we're going to run pnpx create payload app. And so this is going to install at the most recent version, which means that the dashboards should appear immediately. So this is going to be modular dashboard first look. And maybe we should do the website template instead of the blank template. That way there is collections and globals made for me. So yeah, let's do that. We'll do the website. It'll be a MongoDB. Interesting. Let's see. I might need to close a few windows here. Let me close. Yeah, I've been having some issues with my streaming software recently, so hopefully this will work. I see that I'm frozen. Nope, good to go. All right, so anyway, let's take a look here at the actual project. So I have WebStorm. I'm going to open the project and then I'll show my WebStorm screen. We'll go to all right, so here's the website template. Let's put this over on the right half, put this over on the left half. I'm done with my terminal, so I can close that. And now let's take a look at our payload config, which should be in source. Payload config, and let's go ahead and git add, git commit, init commit, and then we're going to run pnpm dev to get this up and running and see what we have by default in the website template, because I don't think it's going to have the dashboard by any means. But if I go to localhost, do admin, let that load up. Hopefully it loads up with my, yep, okay. I had a double slash there, but apparently this is smarter than I thought. All right, so we're gonna sign up with my normal test user. Oop. Not now, all right, so, yep, so we've got a dashboard here, that's perfect, but I'm gonna wanna look into how to actually add it. Hey there, thanks for joining me. Hopefully we will learn something in all of this. All right, so we're going to seed the database. We're not going to add any of this. This block is a custom component. We don't need that anymore, so I can get rid of this, and that should disappear. All right, so then we have dashboard. Where is the dashboard added? Is it just by default then? Unless it's a plugin. Let's take a look. It's not. All right, so we're taking a look here to figure out how dashboard stuff works. I have a feeling that it's not just imported by default, but maybe it is. I guess it is, because I don't see anything else that would indicate that a dashboard is being imported elsewhere. So let's just take a look here at our admin. We can pull up our import map. Well, this is that's gonna be too hard to look through, but we've got our page. And I don't see any dashboard added here either. So perfect. So it looks like the dashboard is on by default. It's not in any components, not in any collections or our cores or our globals, not in any plugins that I mentioned. TypeScript, it's not going to be in our jobs either. All right, so let's take a look at the dashboard, since it seems to be whenever you install a new project at 3.69 or after, it automatically comes with this dashboard dropdown. And here I can edit the dashboard. Well, first, here it says reset layout. I assume, and we'll see here in a second, that this is going to save to my preferences. So it's going to write into my dashboard, or it's going to write to my user preferences for Payload, the actual, so to my preferences, it's going to write what I have as my dashboard. So let's go ahead and edit the dashboard, and we're going to add our collections widget, okay? So we can have multiple collection widgets. Interesting. So that's only going to be full. So I can only add my collections widget. That means that there has to be something else we can do here. So in components, there's no dashboard here. Is there a dashboard here? There is. All right. So now we can take a look beyond the default dashboard here, which is the collections and globals. We can click into this and see what our dashboard config has. So it looks like we have a widgets array, or a widgets option as well, which does take an array. So I've got that going now. If I save this, let's see what happens to my dashboard up here. So collections is still there by default. Let's refresh before I actually make that claim. We still have collections by default. Now in the widgets themselves, we have an array of widgets, which then has a component path, label, max and min width, and a slug. Interesting. Okay, so let's just get something going here. Component path is a string. So we are going to be using import maps to make this happen. So I don't think I have any examples of what this is going to look like, but here is a pull request and an issue. This is definitely not going to be what we're looking for. There's no documentation for this yet, which is why I'm here to stumble through it with you guys. So what we could do is for our widgets, so we're going to go and we're going to create, actually we may not need to create, we should have components before dashboard, so perfect. So in here, we're going to create a new file, and in this file, or for this file, we're going to create a widgets folder, and the first widget I'm going to create is a collection count. Excuse me. And we'll just do a TSX file here. Then we'll do this like any other custom field, I believe. So we need a component path widget. So before we even do anything, let's export a default collection count, and we're just going to return an H1. This is a test. So before we do anything, let's actually do default here. Export default collection count. Then we can come over to our payload config widget. We're going to have so the widget array is going to expect a component path, and that component path is going to be not all of that. So interesting. Oh, and then a slug. Okay. So we need to add a slug, and this is going to be collection count. So let's see what this ends up looking like. If I go to my dashboard again, I can add, maybe. I might have to do an import map, but we'll see. At a dashboard, we're going to add, okay, so we have a collection count, and then we see this is a test. Great. Oh, I'm glad to hear that. Thank you for joining on this live stream as well. So here in the live streams, we get to enjoy the struggle a little bit more than those streamlined tutorials that you guys are so used to seeing. This is my actual process for figuring out how things work. So I'm hopeful that even if we don't get something that's like completely useful, we have at least the building blocks to do something that is a little bit more beneficial than the struggle that I'm going through right now. But the struggle is part of learning. So here we are, just a learning. All right, so we have our collection count. And what we might want to do instead is remember how this works. So we should be able to, in our custom components, let's go take a look over there real quick. So we need to pull up Payload CMS. And then we're going to do our custom components. And I want to make sure, so my root components, this is not quite the same, but I'm hoping, okay, so really what I need to do is graphics icon. Okay. All right, so for our custom components, let's look over here real quick to our logo. Okay, so that's not doing what I want either. So what we need to do is import get payload from payload, import our config from payload config. I think I can do it this way instead. Then we're going to initialize our payload, but first this needs to be async. So we'll set payload is going to be equal to await get payload config. Then we'll get, not our collections, I want to get the, let's just get our pages collections. So I'm going to do collections. I guess we have posts. So we're going to limit this to 0. And then, yeah, we can work with that for now. So let's come over back to our dashboard and refresh. All right, ever since I upgraded to macOS Tahoe, I've had some issues with streaming here. I want to make sure that I'm streaming the proper way, which I think I should be. Yeah, I'm doing not 4K, which is what I don't want, so, but I should be recording in 4K. So that is a struggle, but all right. Anyway, so now we can go to our dashboard, we can edit the dashboard, and we can add our collection count, and we have 3 posts. Perfect. So now instead of all of that, we can set this to be small, extra large, but none of that's going to matter because maybe if we do a style and we just do a border of 1 pick solid black and refresh, we can add the dashboard. Okay, so oops, not collections. I want to do add collection count. We can see that there now, and then we can do full, extra large, large, medium. All right, so all that looks good. We can save those changes so they show up because that's not exactly what we want to do. Oh, thank you for pointing that out. Let me just go. Where can I go? I'll go over here. Sorry about that. All right, so there we go. I am over in a different area. We can see the output now. Let me show off again. So edit dashboard. What I was doing is we can set this to be extra small, and you can see that the border expands even if my posts don't expand. So we can see that in use there. So I'll cancel changes there. Oh, it disappeared. So let me add that back, collection count, and then we'll just save those changes. All right, so thanks for letting me know that. If I get in the way again, just do the same thing. I am monitoring the chat, so I will see that happening. All right, so then we have max width and mid width, as well as the slug, which we did, and then the label function. So we could just do a label and call this one post count. And then when I refresh, that didn't do anything, but that's okay. Static label. So that tells me that, oh, so I need, is it singular? What? Interesting. All right, so not quite sure what the label is doing yet. We'll look into it. So for label, we've got the label function that we can use, which allows for translation. And then there's the static label, which takes 2 strings as a record. Interesting. Okay, so if we go to label. Oh, I think that is actually going to be this here. So if I do collection count just to show, yep, so that's that label here. So this label sets the collection count there, but I'll just set this to be post count because that's all I'm doing with this right now. And then outside of that, we should be able to do, wish I could go back. So back to our widgets, we'll see what our widget array takes. Component path will have a label. If not provided, auto-generated by the slug. Then we can do a max width and a min width, and then the widget width is these. So I can do something like, instead of allowing, let's just do max width of, we'll say, this probably shouldn't be bigger than medium for what it's doing. And then min width, I don't really need to change this, but we'll do small. So now if I save this, let's get out of that and refresh. Then I can edit my dashboard and let's discard and let's actually reset the layout, go to edit dashboard, add a post count, and now small and medium are all I'm able to get because that's what I set. But for the max width, I could probably go with extra small and go up to medium. I don't really want this to take up more than half the screen. So if I refresh that, let's go add it back, and we'll set this to be medium and save those changes. Great. So let's see what else we got here, because this is not very flexible right now and it also doesn't look great. So this is where it would be helpful to have Payload's UI available, because I have to design all these, but that's okay. All right, so we have client widget as well, widget instance. Widget instance, which is widget slug and widget width. All right, so here then we would want to do something that, like, to style this, I want it to match over here. So let's go ahead and inspect this element. And then I know we can get import from Payload CMS UI, and then there should be a card. Is there a widget though? No, there's not a widget. So let's set this then to be a card and see what it needs. Property children does not exist on type. Oh, title. Okay. Interesting. And then there is no style. So let's refresh this again. And then now we can see that the card is here, but of course it's expecting a link, which is not great. So I could style this myself to be something a little bit more usable. So these are very clearly, they must be designed in our dashboard. So let's take a look here. So right now the presets are not ready. All right. All right, so it seems that we would need to design this how we want it designed, because I don't really want this card to be clickable. And then of course I would want to do something like H2 would be, let's say posts. And then of course we need to do a fragment here. Refresh. We got our posts there, but that doesn't look great either. So instead of the card, let's do it this way. Let's set up a new div. In that div, we'll actually use an H3, which will be post count. Then we can do another div that will have collections total docs. And then I don't really want to do, well, Tailwind's already installed, so maybe I can do some Tailwind stuff here already. No. So no, well, unless, no Tailwind. So let's do a style instead. So here we're going to have display, flex direction column. Then we'll do a background color, not of white, of whatever color this is. Oh, right, I need to be refreshing as I go. So we got that. Then we can do a padding of 1 rem. And now, of course, I know I can just copy the styles from the card, but this will work just fine. Border, radius of 0.5 rem, we can refresh. And now if I come in here and do edit dashboard and set this to be extra small, I can see that that is being changed as we speak. And then instead of this, let's do a paragraph tag. Set this to have class name, and we'll do, oh, not class name, we'll do style, font, size is what I'm trying to get, 1.2 rem, we'll see what that looks like, refresh, okay. Then we will style, add some margin, bottom, and this will be 1 rem-ish. We'll see if that works. Okay, cool. So we get something there. And now I wonder, is there a way to pass in variables? And I don't think that there is, because these are all the options that are available in our widgets. So we have our component path label, max and min width, and slug, which means that this is not really a collection count. This is a post count. And then over here, we need to change this to be post count. Then we can, in our widgets, copy this, paste this. This will be a page is count. Add. This will be rename a posts count. So now I should be able to go and posts count. Close this up. Then do another widget, which will be our pages count. Pages, posts, page count. So now, if we go to our dashboard and we can add a page count, so that's still labeled as post count because I'm a dummy. Let's go here. We need this to be page count, as well as this, and this, and this. So I don't even really need the limit here because I'm only getting the total docs. Get rid of this as well. Cancel, discard, dashboard, edit dashboard. We will add a post count. There's something here blocking me. So we've got our post count, and we'll add a page count as well. We can drag this over here so we see. I guess I can't drag it over there. But if I do medium here and then medium here, or I can drag this up above the collections, which maybe that makes more sense, because then I could have a before dashboard and have this be labeled up there, or I can create another component that is like a header. Either would work just fine. So I can save these changes. Now, if I go to add a post, new post, what's required in here? Nothing is required, so I should just be able to publish changes. Nope, this is required. Required text. So let's publish those changes. If I go back to our collections here, I now see I have 4 posts instead. So I can do whatever I want with these. So if I wanted to add this link here, I could. So let's target the link. which is not hard. So I can copy the link. We're in the posts collection. Let's do another div with a link, which I'm going to get from, not next link. I want to get this import link from Payload CMS UI, which is just a wrapper for the next link. So this works out. I can just do add post, and that is going to be, I wonder if I can actually do a button instead. So if I do button, then the href will just be our, we'll want to change this to be, I should have get server side URL. What do you expect then? All right, so the link happens inside the button or outside the button. So if I do that link again, so let's import our link as well. Were you about to do it? You were probably about to do it for me. So if we do link, that's not the right link. Got the whole href, so I can do this. Now the button's wrapped in a link. And if I refresh, I see add post there. And if I click on add post, it brings me to the post thing there. So that means if these collections get pushed down because of my widgets, that's okay because I've got it handled. But now, so get server-side URL. So maybe this actually just needs to be that. We'll make sure that that does the same thing. Add post. Oh, so each time I add a new post here, let's go ahead and delete these. Confirm, go back to our dashboard, which will be here. So we got 4, and then now I can click that and get what I need. For the div, or maybe for the button, where there's extra padding here, but regardless, I can just copy this div, come over to our pages count, and do the same thing. We'll do pages instead. Oh, add page, can refresh, and now I see that I've got my add page and add post. We can then set this to be extra small, and this one to be small, and then save changes, and we have those there. So a lot of flexibility here with how you design what you have, but let's do a border. And we'll do a border over here as well. Now, of course, I could have like actual components instead of like this div is the same as the other div, but none of that really matters because I'm just trying to get this working. So I've got add page, add post. Let's get rid of this margin or padding on the button. So button, can I add styles? Button. I should be able to. So if I do style, I can do margin bottom of 0. Man, I can't do anything. Button react. Oh well, I could just do of the div margin bottom -1 rem. And that should close up that gap. It does not. But yeah, it's this button. Can I do size? Let's do small. I like that better, but it's still not quite what I want. that is, well, first, hold on, let me do this. Size, we'll do small. So what I see right now for the dashboard is that this is going to be for my user. So let's double check to make it sure. Yeah, so the dashboard layout is added to, yep. So it's going to be a little hard to see because I know this text is a little smaller, but by my face, this is all being posted to the payload preferences, which means that my user is the one that will see this. And we'll test this out here in a second. I can reset the preferences. So if I do this and go back to the dashboard, that gets cleared. So if I then edit the dashboard and we'll add the post count back because it doesn't really matter and save the changes, we'll again see that this posts to my preferences. If I go to users, we have the demo author. I don't know what the password's going to be here, but I can create a new me. And save that. We'll log out. So I'm clicking the log out button, then I can do I don't see the dashboard that I just created. So right now it doesn't seem to have any default settings. I do think, if I remember right, these are issues, sorry. We'll go to the pull request. They have future work here where they're going to have dashboard presets. So those presets will be able to be used by any of your users, but currently in the state that it's in right now will not have any ability to have like a dashboard default. Not yet. This is in beta, as I mentioned at the top of this, so it's not surprising that we don't have that kind of functionality yet, but it is on the way. So I'm also looking forward to any kind of, not just default for the, like the presets, like those will be super helpful to have defaults that you can define and use for other people. But I'd like to see some also generic basic components that are defined for you, or a way to use the, like really what we need is the UI to be exported fully, so I don't have to like design everything from scratch, but to have a way to get my collections or my widgets to match the admin UI. All right. Sorry, just checking one thing here. Okay. So what have we got left to do? All right, so it seems to be most of what the dashboard is. So if I go back again and add the dashboard, it doesn't seem like there's a whole lot to this. I can do my page count. I could do, like over time, I could do a time series chart like we see here. But again, that's something that I would need to add. It's not something that the dashboard comes with on its own. So there's also private widgets that's only visible to admin users, which is interesting. So you can set permissions and move the widgets around. It's really impressive work, so don't get me wrong that a simple implementation is a bad thing, but yeah, that's essentially all there is to this. Like I can edit this dashboard. Whatever you want to do with these widgets, you can do. And then as this grows, so if I were to do something like, let's add our post count, We have our post count and our page count. Now, if I were to make my post count, we'll say a margin bottom, just something ridiculous, just to make it grow. So like 4 rem. We can make this grow. Yeah, let's do that here. So this grows, but the page count doesn't. But when it's in line with it, it's going to take up the same amount of space here. So you're going to have some blank space there as well. And it doesn't look like I can drop it down a level. I can move that over there. I can drop it. Interesting. So, oh, there we go. So I can move that there. But for as long as, like, I can't just make this take up its own row at, what is this, 25%. So I would need to have a way for this to roll over. So if I were to do my pages count and have that be not, yeah, we'll do large. We can save these changes, refresh, go back and edit the dashboard. I think I have to add it back, do page count, and set this to be large, and this to be medium. That's the only way that it's going to drop down to the next level, is if there's just not enough space for it on the level above. But we can set both to medium. Let's get rid of that margin bottom on our post count, because that's ridiculous. I can save that, save these changes, and hit refresh. There we go. So modular dashboards are not very difficult. I've only been going for, what, about 40 minutes to set up 2 here. Now, of course, you can do more than just the, like these counts here. So I wonder if I could do something like, let's do sort, so not pages though. So let's go look at our post real quick, and I can see authors. Perfect. All right. So what I want to do is we're going to set myself as an author here. So I'm going to publish those changes. And then over my posts count, I could do something like, I'll do another div. Let's actually do a horizontal rule here. We could do sort, I think it's going to be this way though. And we'll do the most recent post be collections docs 0. That should be right. Then I should be able to do, from our most recent post, we can get most recent author, or let's do latest author, and we'll do most recent post meta author. And we can do this. Most recent post. I think it's actually going to be this as this is a post. I don't think it's actually meta, so I think it's just going to be author. Oh, populated author. So here we can do populated authors. So then we should set depth to 2 just to make sure, though I think that's the default. Then down here I can do populated, or latest author dot name. Then we'll do this as author name. So now if I save this, go back to our dashboard and refresh. Okay, don't see it yet, but that's okay because that just means I think I need to look up my authors, but give me 1 second. So we're going to log this, get our latest author. Yep, I get the ID and the name. Oh, okay. So first, it does need to be negative created at. Then we need latest author is going to actually be this. And then we should be able to get name from there. So now if I save that and refresh, I get the latest author, last post published by. And now I see down here at the bottom that I can say who the last post was published by. So if I add a post, I can then set my author to demo author, required. So put in all of our required fields, publish that, go back to our dashboard, and I can see now that the last post published was by the demo author. But now, what do we have here? As author. Oh, wait. There we go. Just had to do some optional chaining there. But I wonder if I can do that and then get rid of this. Okay, not like that at least. There we go. But I still need this to be, because that could potentially be undefined. All right, so now we can get rid of that console log. And that's it. So, all right, thanks for watching. Okay. So that's really it for modular dashboards. I could keep rambling and figuring out smaller things that you can do here and there, but this seems to be a good place to stop with these. I do have some time. I could pull up my my website and take a look at that and start refactoring there. But first, I'll be right back. Need a little bio break, so hold on 1 second. All right, I'm back. So the options we have now are I can start working on refactoring my website, and I know there are quite a few people who want to like see it open sourced. And right now I used some LLMs to get it up and running. So I definitely like rushed through that website. So there's definitely some refactoring that I need to get done for that website before I'm happy with sharing it. But in like I said, I was going to tackle the modular dashboards. Oh, okay. So we have at least one here. So why don't I start on it? I've got another like 30 minutes before I want to drop off. So let's pull up my website, give the people what they want. So I'm going to move my screen back over here. And we're going to go to my site. So I think I'm going to stop recording though. So like I'm going to stay live, but modular dashboards is all I wanted to do for that. So let me stop recording and let that do its thing. And we're going to take a look at my website here. So hopefully I might have to roll some of my environment variables there, but not a big deal. We'll see. I want to see what that actually brings up. It's truncated, so I don't think that's going to be anything. All right. So let's take a look here. So we'll run npm dev. There's a few things that I definitely wanted to change. So let's go to our admin. We can get rid of all of these modular dashboard things because I have exhausted that. And that is doing its thing. So what I'm going to do, honestly, is get this up to best practices, like the same best practices that I preach and teach. So we'll see. I have, of course, a few, I have my Claude folder here and all of that. So anything that I run into, I do know that at least one of my AI assistants knows how to fix what I need to fix. Let's other password. Ooh, let me move this real quick before I just get my passwords up and around. Other passwords, because I do actually have secure passwords sometimes. Codes. Log in. Oof, maybe I don't. Oh. Okay. So the problem here is that I have... Oh, no, so I do have my database, but I think that just means then... One second. Well, if I'm not going to be able to log in, that's going to be an issue. So let me take a look at my... Here's a better idea. Instead of you guys just staring at a blank screen, why don't you stare at my face? So let me bring this back over, and I'm going to look in my environment variables real quick. And yes, I know you can't see me right now, but I need to make sure that I have the right database. Oh, do I have to use my Docker database? I don't think I do. All right, so I'm just connecting to my database because I need to see who my users are. I might actually have to do a forgot password for this. Oh, nope. Okay, we got it. We're there. All right, so let me set this to the left. We got IDE to the right with no secrets. Just double checking before I get anything. All right. So let me switch back over to the screen. There we go. So there are a few things here that I know people are interested in. This the analytics dashboard here, this is plausible analytics and a custom view. I have shown how I actually do this in a video. I think it's called Custom Views with Payload CMS are amazing. So if you want to learn how to do this specifically, there's already a video out about that. So I won't spend any time there. And I want to start at the top here. I don't really want to do the front end stuff yet, so we're going to come back to that. But we've got our collections, and our collections are kind of out of order here. or not even out of order. They're just not, like I need categories to go into this collections folder. So let's do that. We'll set categories in that directory. And then we're going to refactor and rename. You know, before I do all this, I should refactor. I should branch. So let's do that real quick. So let's do a git checkout v, and we'll call this refactor. So now I'm in a refactor branch. I don't have courses yet. Courses are on the way, and I'm not going to put them into my actual website, but we'll see if that remains. But let's do refactor, rename. I can just do the rename there. We'll do config, and then refactor. And so all I'm doing right now, is we want to do payload, generate types. Right now I'm just doing some organization. I thought I just did that. All right. We'll do courses. Oh, I updated the slug name. Dang it. So courses. And then I think the same thing would have happened with categories. I don't know why I'm searching. I can just go here, do categories. All right, so now I should be able to generate types. Dang, man. All right, I need more screen space. So this, oh wait, I'm not recording this. All right, so that's not going to be an issue. All right, so no usages here, but if I go then to my payload config, okay, still nothing that is private, so we're good. I should have thought this through a little bit better. All right, so we have probably want this to be categories, and then this to be courses. And then don't want that and don't want that. So now I can save. Let's try this again. We're going to generate types. And then if I refresh, well, I got to start it. Refresh. All right, so now we have this back up and running. Categories should show up as, like, I hope I didn't just delete a bunch of stuff. Perfect. So now we can resume. I know I want to, let's go ahead and do it this way. So we will, nah, all right. So we'll do a new directory. This will be documents. Yeah, let's do it this way. Collections, and then we're going to make directory. We want media, kit submissions. We want members, short links, subscribers, users, YouTube, stats. So all of those are now created. I can move documents. We'll refactor that. Members, short links, media kit submissions. And yes, I see it breaking in the background here. And we got our users and our YouTube stats. And so the reason I'm doing this is, yes, one, to stay organized, but like how categories has hooks, I want all of my category hooks to be around my category config. So that just makes this easier for me to work with. So config, refactor, no. Then Media is already done. Media kit submissions, we will rename to be config. Refactor, no, we don't want to update. Same thing here, rename, config, refactor, no. That's index, so let's rename that to be config, factor. Oh, didn't ask me to update it, good. This should also be, oh, it's because it's not the same. Refactor, short links, rename, config, refactor, no, subscribers. So this is the fun stuff of coding, you know. My mouse. There we go. Rename, dang it. Undo. Rename, config, refactor, no. Tutorials, rename, config, factor. Okay, 2 more to go, and then we'll start actually getting into some fun stuff here. So config, refactor, no. Rename, config, refactor. All right. So let's look at our tutorials here because this is where a majority of my content is. So this should all be good. If I go over to our tutorials, we can see how this works. So what do you mean not found? So that means if I go to my home page, so let's go localhost, see if we can find one that is actually active. All right, draft previews. Draft. I mean, it's there. All right. Why is this making it so difficult for me? All right. So I see that this is here. We have tutorials, draft. One of these have to work. All right. I'm going to pull up my compass here again, so you guys can't see that, but I just want to see what's actually here in my website. Right tool for the job. Dang, man. Okay. Oh, wait. The right. All right. So I need to figure out my database here for a second. Why don't I just create a new tutorial? No, because that's just going to be so much work. All right. Different idea. So let's go to my actual website and log in. And so we can look at my tutorials. And here's the most recent. So we definitely need the title. Oh, so we can look at these buttons up here. So first of all, I see this like scrolling behavior. I don't want that. And so these two buttons are custom components. I can use the sync YouTube button to search for this video and update the image if I needed to, which has this modal that pops up, and then the import markdown. So this markdown import export icon is also kind of jacked up. So those I should actually be able to see here. So now let's go back to our right half. And we can look, we have our tutorial link, which that makes sense. I actually do want to adjust that a little bit as well. So you see the spacing here. I don't need that spacing there. So let's go to our components tutorial link. And then we'll go to our we'll go to our client. And so we're going to inspect our element and see in a second. There we go. So this, the span tutorial link label, is the one that is giving me that extra margin on the bottom, which I don't want. But then the link itself, we could do margin top of that 0.5 rem. So let's do margin top of that 0.5 rem, and that shouldn't do anything here because the link doesn't exist yet. So looks better. We can get rid of those there. Then we have sync YouTube, which let's actually take a look at. So that there I don't have the issue. The issue comes when I have more. So what database? I'm going to my environment variables one more time. We're going to go to, I just want to make sure that this database is different. So yes, it's my local database. Perfect. So now put this back in the right, because what I want to do is I'm going to create a test title with the slug test. I've got too many requirements, but I should actually be able to save this as a draft and get what I want. So that's an error that I need to figure out as well. That's something that keeps happening even in production. So that's where sometimes LLMs just can't help you. All right, so here I'm seeing that I have got scrolling behavior that I should not have. And we'll see if I can fix this in the next 15 minutes or so. There we go. Interesting. Okay, so we have our doc controls, which means maybe I don't want to include those in the doc controls. So if I go to my tutorials config, what have we got? YouTube ID. Where are these? Why are my hooks weird? Oh, duplicate. Okay, so we'll want to adjust that. Okay. Before change. Okay, so before document control, there it is. So this then I think is just adding too much here. So I wonder if I were to just change, let's go to our components admin markdown import. Components admin, we'll do this first. And so what this does is it allows me to import, I do all of my scripts and like writing in Obsidian first, which does markdown files. And this allows me to import markdown files to then be imported into my lexical editor. And so after I did this, the Payload team did add the ability to use markdown shortcuts in the lexical editor. So I still use this for things like my custom code block, and I have a little membership block that I add throughout content as well on my website. But if I just wanted to change, let's go to the return. I don't think the icon adds anything, so let's go ahead and get rid of this icon. We'll keep importing. We'll do this to be import.md. Again, I don't think this icon is adding anything, so if I save this and refresh, oh, I didn't even need to refresh. So now it just says import md, but I still will refresh. Okay, so the scroll is still there though. So the scroll is what I'm trying to fix. It's not there in widescreens, so this may not be something that I can even fix. I'll have to look at source code to see if that's true or not. So we've got our button there. Let's do the same thing for our tutorial sync here. Because I don't think, like, this is honestly just for me. If you want to add an icon, you can. It's not something that I think is, I'll want to keep the spinner though. Syncing, and then here, don't need the YouTube icon. Yeah, so the scroll is still there. And I wonder, why, because I have doc control docs, doc control wrapper. Let's see if it's there without my controls, because maybe my components are adding some complexity there. So if I get rid of those, refresh. No, so it still scrolls, and that's because this drop down, at least I think it's because of the drop down. Yeah, because if I click the drop down on smaller screens, maybe. Yeah, so the schedule publish. So I think that's actually what's happening here, is that the schedule publish is making it seem longer. So we've got our icon YouTube. Now here, what is class icon markdown? All right, so that I just need to change. But can I use, is there a markdown file in Lucid React? If I look for markdown. Not in React, at least. What would a markdown icon look like? That's command. So if I can just find an SVG of it though, markdown SVG. Oh, that's licensable. I don't want to use that then. Sure, this works. Can I... Definitely don't want 800 pixels, but we can include this. Do 24 and 24. And then instead of 800 pixels, well, I should not include that. Maybe I just don't include height and width because I don't see it here. And then we'll do no fill. Get rid of this, and now that I know that nothing I can do is going to change this, I can change this to be import markdown again. So we can save that, come back and refresh. I guess I need to have a height and width. But also, so that spinner there. All right, so now let's try this again. This should be 24, this should be 24, and let's just do height and width here as well. Interesting. So my markdown import still isn't changing. Let's try generate import map pnpm dev. So I restarted my server and still nothing. Wow. It's still the old markdown. Let's get out and then oh, you know why? Because I was in the wrong place. So here we go. Now I have that. Let's get rid of the height and width and then set the stroke to be current color. Same here, current color. And then the only other thing is I should have icon markdown. All right, so we're getting there. No, that should be right. Okay. All right. The current color round. Height and width is defined for me. Perfect. Okay. And then I think margin right is the issue. Nope, that's not the issue. Let's take a look at it. Cancel. Inspect. This is going to take a second. Button content. All right, so let's take a look at why. So this is the actual container itself. Maybe the width needs to be a bit bigger. Does import markdown. So 1.2, do something like, so this is just bigger than the previous icon I had. But I wonder if we just do, okay, so it needs height and width. All right. So we get our height and our width. Then I think here then maybe we can do, oh, look at all of these importance. Another thing that I need to fix. All right, so we have our markdown import button. Interesting. Okay. So maybe we do margin bottom. That's the wrong way though. Okay. All right, so that should help. Let's get back into it. We'll do a height of not that. Okay. 0.05. Okay. Then for our width, we have that now. Margin bottom. There we go. And then our height. Yeah, if you're in the Discord, feel free to ask some questions. It's gonna, as you can see, it's gonna take me a while to fine tune this and get it ready for open sourcing, but that is the end goal. All right, that's going to be good enough for me. So let's go ahead and copy this, and then I also need to drop. So we'll do icon markdown, save that, refresh, and that should look better. Not the greatest at the smallest screen sizes, but that's okay. I'm happy enough with that. So I would just like to find, like, I don't think, let's see, Lucid, I don't think this has like YouTube. It does have YouTube. So I'd love to be able to just copy the SVG, or even better, if we go to our tutorial sync from Lucid React, I can import, what is this? Oh, it says deprecated. YouTube. All right, so I can't actually use this, but that's okay, because I don't need to. So I guess I won't be using brand icons from Lucid React, no biggie. But yes, all right, so we have this. It seems like I just have to deal with the scrolling, and that's because of the publish change, schedule publish. That just happens in the document control. And then I need to find a better markdown icon. But honestly, again, I don't think it adds anything. Not for me anyway. So let's just remove it until I can find something better. To do, add markdown icon. That's better. All right. So that gets rid of that. And then I can see I've got my title, slug. We've got my description, video URL, GitHub URL. So all of these are necessary for my hero. Let's take a look in the YouTube sync. I'm thinking that I said I need to stop, so I should stop. So I need to eat something is really what it is. So I am going to go do that. I hope at least the first part of this video was helpful, talking about the modular dashboards, if that's what you came here to see. I did talk about that for the first 45 minutes, so feel free to start. Around minute 5 is where that all should start. But I am going to be editing that video to make it a little bit more streamlined so I can show it off on my YouTube channel as well. If you're not already subscribed, subscribe to my channel. That support means so much to me. It helps me grow, and it helps with discoverability as well as I continue to grow within the payload space, but also in all of the web dev technology space. Comments, questions, suggestions, feel free to leave those in the comments. You can find me in the Discord. I am there. I'm active. So I'm happy to answer any questions, and anything that you give me there is also helpful for new content ideas. So I am there. Come and find me. I do have a newsletter called Next.js. I'll put a link in the description, or you can find it on my website, nlvcodes.com. This Friday, I have a video coming out that's not quite news-oriented, but I'll be talking about some bold predictions I have for 2026 across Payload CMS and other web dev technologies like Cloudflare and Figma and all of that. So I've got that stuff coming out as well. This is a project that I'll be working on diligently. I do want to get my site open sourced and open to people to go out and see it. So eventually I may do a deep dive into it that's a little bit more, or a little bit less of troubleshooting like I was doing here. So again, subscribe to the channel, leave a comment, find me in Discord, find my newsletter, and then of course there are ways to support me both on YouTube and through Patreon, which you can find both on my website, nlvcodes.com. But I'll put all those in the description as well, which, you know, I should really be doing more often. But that's it for me. I hope you found this helpful. I should close out the... Sorry, I'm thinking now. I should close out the modular dashboard. So let me start recording again real quick. And that's it for modular dashboards. If you found this video helpful, please like it and subscribe. That's it for modular dashboards. If you liked this video, and that's it for modular dashboards. If you found this video helpful, please like the video and subscribe to my channel. That support means so much to me. There are ways you can support me in the description through Patreon, YouTube memberships, as well as my newsletter, Next in Dev. If you have comments or questions, please leave those in the comments. I'd love to hear from you. Until then, I'll see you in the next video. And that's it for how I close out my videos. So I just needed to record that real quick so I can have something to close out my modular dashboards video. But I'm rambling now, so I'm gonna run an ad. So I'm gonna do that, and I'm going to drop off as well. So thank you all for joining me. I'll see you in the next live stream.